Welcome to Dice Chatter. In our second tutorial, we will look at what you need to know before you engage in miniature warfare. Let us get started. So these are the following items you need to play Age of Sigmar. Models for your army. A bunch of 6-sided dice. A tape measure. A table or a flat playing surface. And the basic rules, which can be found as a free PDF located in the description. But before you start setting up those awesome looking models up for battle, we need to look at some basic rules for dice and measuring. In Age of Sigmar, you use 6-sided dice, or D6s, for just about every roll in the game. Some rules will have you roll multiple dice, such as 2d6, 3d6, and so on. Other rules will have you roll a d3. In this case, roll a standard d6, cut that number in half, and then round up. For example, a rule asks me to roll a d3, and I get a 5. Divide 5 in half, and round up to the nearest whole number, you get a total of 3. A couple of other quick rules with dice. Some rules will have you re-roll dice, which means you get to roll some or all the dice again. You can never re-roll a dice more than once, and re-rolls happen before modifiers to the roll, if any are applied. There can also be roll-offs. In this case, each of the players rolls a die, and whoever rolls highest wins the roll-off. If there's a tie for the highest roll, make sure to roll off again. Distances in Age of Sigmar are measured in inches. To move a model, you measure from the edge of its base to a location on the battlefield you would like them to go. In this case, we have moved our Beast Lord forward 6 inches. Now let's add a blockade in front of our model. You can either move around the barrier like so, or you can move up and over the barrier. To do this, you measure the distance going up, over, and down the blockade we have in front of our model and factor this into our movement of 6 inches. And those are the basics of moving models around the battlefield. Now we move on to the difference between models and units. Models fight in units, and a unit can have one or more models. For example, these Bestigors are a single unit, but they contain 10 models. And this single Great Bray Shaman is also a unit as well as a single model. Another rule that you must keep in mind is the importance of unit coherency. All models in a single unit must be within 1 inch of each other. If a unit is split up at the end of a turn, models must be removed from the unit until only a single group of models remains in play. So make sure you are careful when moving your units on the battlefield and removing them after some have fallen in combat. Those are the basics of models and units. Now we transition over to setting up the battlefield. For a battlefield, you need a nice flat playable surface, preferably a table. The standard is a 4x4 or a 6x4 foot area, but for casual play, there is no restrictions. But my favorite part of setting up the battlefield is setting up the terrain. Terrain comes in all shapes and sizes and from all different types of manufacturers. You can also make some yourself. The terrain that is made by Games Workshop also comes with rules that can be used in your games as well. Now, according to the basic rules, there is no limit or requirement to how much terrain can be placed on the battlefield. But the rules do suggest at least one terrain feature for every 2 square foot area of the battlefield. I personally like to roll D3 terrain pieces for every 2 square foot area of the battlefield. This can add some randomness and create a more interesting battle. Now that you have a surface to play your Age of Sigmar games on, and it is set up with terrain, next you need to figure out how to set up your armies. To do this, you and your opponent need to choose a battle plan. Essentially, a battle plan is a set of instructions that describe how a battle in Age of Sigmar will be fought. All battle plans show how to set up the battlefield, how you achieve victory, and if there are any special rules. Some battle plans focus on your army holding objectives, while others focus on turning your opponent's army into mush. As an example, we will look at the battle plan that was provided in the basic rules on page 12. Here is the battle plan. The title of this encounter is First Blood. The column on the left is a description of the battle. The center column focuses on how to set up the battlefield for the 2 armies, and the column to the right gives information on some special rules in this particular battle and how to be victorious. At the bottom of this document, it also gives you a 6 foot by 4 foot top-down map showing the starting territories for each army. The battle plan that is provided in the basic rules is a great starting point for new players just getting into the hobby. Keep in mind, once you and your opponent have set up your armies according to a battle plan, you then need to select a model as a general for your army. A great idea is to always choose a single hero model from your army as a general to lead your forces. But this leads to another question. How do I know which model is a hero? To answer that, you must look at the unit's war scroll, which we will be covering in our next video. I hope this tutorial has helped you in some way. I would advise picking up a copy of the basic rules for Age of Sigmar. I've linked to a free PDF in the description down below. I hope you stick around for the next tutorial video all about war scrolls. I want to thank you all for watching, and of course, happy gaming.